Today is August 5th. On this day in history, August 5th, 1981, a proper small town in America actually elected a cat as its mayor. This wasn't an influencer's photo shoot, not a scripted video, but a genuine, real election result. On that day, the residents of Talkeetna, Alaska had a wild idea. Instead of electing those politicians who are all talk, why not choose Stubbs, the sunbathing ginger cat from the corner store? So they cast their votes, and the cat actually won. For the next 30 years, he clocked in at the general store every day, greeting tourists, collecting tips, appearing on TV, even CNN came to interview him. He survived a dog attack, a true near-death experience. The whole town fundraised to save him. He retired at the ripe old age of 30 before crossing the Rainbow Bridge. The town flew its flags at half-mast in mourning. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a true story of magical realism from America. A cat, with the power of its purr, ruled a small town for 3 whole decades. On this episode of Spill the History Tea, we're doing a deep dive into the world's most hardcore public servant, Mayor Stubbs, and how he used his cuteness to land a job for life. Hello, tea sippers, and welcome back to Spill the History Tea. Today's gossip is about the ultimate career goals in the animal kingdom. A ginger cat who couldn't talk, sign documents, or even read a ballot, somehow held the mayor's seat for 30 years in a human-dominated political system. No 9-to-9 grind, no rat race. His workday was just sunbathing, getting treats, and being petted. His salary was paid by tourist donations and merchandise sales. That's right. This was the surreal daily life in the small Alaskan town of Talkeetna. On August 5th, 1981, this remote, snowy town of just a few hundred people was experiencing a political meltdown. The local politicians were constantly making empty promises about building roads and handing out money, but got nothing done. Frustrated, the residents pulled a wild stunt in the local election. They nominated Stubbs, the beloved ginger cat from the general store. This cat usually just lounged on the counter like a living mascot, as fluffy as a walking cotton candy ball. Who would have thought he'd actually be voted in as honorary mayor? What's crazier is that the town's election rules never said the mayor had to be human. And so, Stubbs won by a landslide, becoming the world's most hardcore, unofficial civil servant. Just think about it, folks. This move was a perfect prophecy for today's anti-hustle culture. In the 1980s America, the workplace was a total battleground. But the people of Talkeetna had it all figured out. Better to have a cat as a figurehead than listen to politicians' empty boasts. Stubbs' term in office was the GOAT of slacking off. No clocking in, no weekly reports. He reported for duty at 10 a.m. sharp every day, settling into his designated soft cushion at the pub to begin his remote work. When tourists arrived, he'd stretch and collect his tips. When a camera was in his face, he'd squint adorably and go viral. Even the New York Times praised him as the leader most in touch with the people. This wasn't being a mayor. This was the dream life of effortless success that every office worker wishes for. Even funnier, Stubbs' political achievements were pure vibes. The pub's revenue grew annually, and the town's tourism income tripled. The residents joked that whenever Stubbs purred, money just rolled into their pockets. I mean, who can relate? A corporate drone could work the 9-to-9 grind until they went bald and still not earn as much as a sunbathing cat. This was the ultimate feline success story. Interestingly, Stubbs also had his own foreign policy. He was especially friendly to certain tourists because they always brought gourmet cat food. He'd roll his eyes at others because they were too loud when taking photos. Some tourists even came with homemade cat treats to bribe him, hoping the mayor would grace them with a glance. That's way more sincere than human politicians' campaign donations. But Stubbs' political career wasn't always smooth sailing. He went through a dark hour more dramatic than any influencer scandal. In the summer of 2003, a stray dog suddenly attacked Stubbs, dragging him out of the pub and mauling him. When the news broke, the whole town was in an uproar. Residents created chat groups overnight, flooding them with "Save the Mayor." Some donated their retirement savings. Others started a GoFundMe campaign. They raised $7,000 in 3 days for his surgery. Even crazier, a CNN reporter rushed to the vet with a camera to broadcast live footage of Stubbs recovering in a cone of shame. This wasn't just saving a cat, it was free advertising for the town. After his recovery, Stubbs became even more famous. Fans flew to Alaska just to pet him for 3 seconds. The Mayor Stubbs plush toy sold out and shot to the top of Amazon's bestseller list. The pub owner summed it up. During the week Stubbs was injured, business actually increased by 40%. Everyone came to pay their respects. This was a huge slap in the face to all the keyboard warriors who said a cat couldn't run a town. Stubbs proved with results that true leadership isn't about speeches, but about making people willingly open their wallets for you. It's worth noting that Stubbs had his own crisis, PR strategy. Whenever he was sick, a small sign would hang on the pub door saying, "The mayor is on sick leave." Below it would be piles of toys and fish snacks from his fans. This wave of emotional marketing made the town a pioneer of healing tourism. Looking back, Stubbs' governance was a masterclass in the influencer economy, way ahead of its time. He never live-streamed, but he held in-person meet and greets at the pub every day. He didn't have Instagram, but tourists' photo grids of him went viral across the internet. In 2010, before TikTok was even a thing, a video of Stubbs' cute head toss was trending on YouTube. It showed him wiggling his butt with a fish snack in his mouth, captioned, "Mayor on duty for the day," getting over 1 million views. A local resident summed it up. Stubbs' KPIs were simple: a therapeutic purr, fluffy fur, and an innocent gaze. In contrast, no matter how slick a human politician's PowerPoint was, it couldn't get as much traffic as a single yawn from Stubbs. Isn't that the logic of top influencers today? Persona, image, and cuteness are everything. What's more ironic is that after Stubbs retired, the town almost had a mayoral crisis. In 2013, he passed away peacefully at the age of 30, which is like 90 in human years. Flags flew at half-mast for 3 days, and Facebook pages were filled with black and white photos. Fans flew in from New York and Tokyo to say goodbye. One person cried, saying, "He was more reliable than my ex-boyfriend." And Stubbs' legacy continues to generate revenue. There's a bronze statue of him in town. A local cafe menu features the mayor's special catnip latte. Even NASA engineers come to visit. After all, in a place that's 40 below zero, a cat supported an entire town just by being cute. That's truly the pinnacle of feline achievement. Today, Talkeetna holds a Mayor Stubbs Day every August 5th. Tourists can participate in a Stubbs look-alike sunbathing contest. The winner gets the title of Acting Mayor for a Day. This level of cultural IP management is way more creative than many official tourism projects. At this point, you're all probably wondering, could Stubbs really be a mayor? Technically, it was just an honorary title. He had no real power and drew no salary. But this unconventional approach hides the democratic wisdom of a small American town. The residents of Talkeetna used Stubbs to satirize political theatrics. While politicians were busy performing for the people, a genuinely personable cat became the best spokesperson. Isn't this the anti-hustle spirit that young people today crave? Stubbs' 30-year term teaches us that leadership isn't about wearing a suit and reading from a script. It's about making people feel like, this guy really gets me. The whole town rushing to save him after the dog attack shows that true unity comes from empathy. The fact that tourism increased after his death proves that sincerity lasts longer than schemes. Compare that to some of today's influencers who are finished the moment their persona collapses. But Stubbs, with his 30-year slacker attitude, turned a small town into a global pilgrimage site. History gives us a reality check. What you might think is slacking off could actually be a top-tier operational strategy. Some sociologists have even studied the Stubbs phenomenon. They found his success came from his purposelessness. He never intentionally tried to please anyone. Yet, he was loved by all for his authenticity. Isn't that the rarest quality on social media today? Finally, a question for the soul. If Stubbs were alive in 2024, would he be famous? Option A, a TikTok star with millions of followers, winning over Gen Z with a day in the life of a mayor videos. Option B, get deplatformed after being reported for animals can't hold public office, with his studio issuing a lengthy apology. Option C, fans argue he should just be a cat and stay out of politics. But hey, even bad publicity is good publicity. Folks, the most amazing part of Stubbs' story isn't that he became mayor. It's that he pricked the bubble of political hypocrisy with his purr. In a world where everyone is anxious to make it, this cat's 30 years of effortless victory teach us that sometimes the most improper choice is the most powerful resistance against an absurd world. A true star never needs to explain themselves. When he sunbathes, the world will applaud him. As one netizen perfectly put it, while humans were still arguing about whether a cat could be mayor, Stubbs had already proven with his purr that the best kind of politics is making people forget they're being governed. All right, that's all the tea for today. Follow us so you don't get lost. Spill the History. Tea brings you the hottest takes on history's hidden gems. If you enjoyed our channel, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.